Welcome to a meeting of your Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners. Representing District 1, Harry Cohen. Representing District 2, Ken Hagan. Representing District 3, Gwen Myers. Representing District 4, Christine Miller. Representing District 5, Donna Cameron Cepeda. Representing District 6, Chris Bowles. Representing District 7, Joshua Wostel. The County Administrator is Bonnie Wise. The County Attorney is Christine Beck. Time is set aside at the beginning of each meeting for citizens to speak on any issue. So we have time for everyone. Speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Today's meeting is brought to you with closed captioning by Hillsborough Television.
Good morning. Welcome to the April 2nd, 2025 regularly scheduled board meeting of the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners. Would everyone please rise for the pledge and invocation given by our chaplain, Commissioner Gwen Myers.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the day. We thank you for all of our first responders, and we thank you for our employees who are working today to give service. I ask a special blessing for our board, that the work that is in front of us to approve your agenda, we ask that we would be on one accord. Father, I ask a special blessing also for those who are traveling to Tampa for the Final Four, that they come here and be safe and return home safely. Bless this meeting in your holy name, I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Commissioner Myers. This morning we have some very special guests that are here for our first proclamation, which will be presented by Commissioner Myers.
Be excited. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. We have a number of distinguished guests with us today for this presentation, which I'm very excited about. Please join me at the podium when I call your name. Lynn Horstman, NCAA Vice President of Women's Basketball. Rob Higgins, Executive Director of the Tampa Bay Sports Commission. Kenyatta Harrison Bridges, Tampa Bay Downtown Partnership. And of course, these larger-than-life mascots. Come on, mascots. Come on up. First, I want to congratulate the University of South Carolina, University of Texas, University of Connecticut, and the University of California, Los Angeles for earning their way to the NCAA Women's Final Four. Let's have a round of applause. I want to commend the NCAA, the Tampa Bay Sports Commission, University of South Florida, and Amalie Arena for their tremendous effort in bringing America's premier women's basketball championship, the NCAA Women's Final Four, to the Tampa Bay for a record-setting 4th time. That deserves applause. This is a testament to the championship caliber of our community and partners and our impeccable record of putting on professional and collegiate championship events. The Women's Final Four will welcome more than 30,000 fans from all over the United States to Tampa Bay this week. More than just 3 games, the NCAA and the Tampa Bay Local Organizing Committee have partnered with community leaders and organizations to develop social programs that sets the standard and grow the game, leaving a lasting impact, impression, and legacy on our community. For all of that fantastic work, the Board of the County Commissioners and the people of Hillsborough County thank these outstanding organizations and wish them all great success. I want to welcome all the teams, their fans, and the NCAA to our community. Game on, defense win championships. Tampa Bay, it is a privilege to present this proclamation. And it reads, whereas the NCAA Division I women's basketball is enjoying immense popularity in inspiring girls and young women across the United States to play basketball, and Hillsborough County is proud of its role in the history of this sensational sports. And whereas every season culminates the NCAA March Madness. Are we ready? We're almost there. One of the most exciting sports events in the world, with the team from across the nation vying for a sports in the women's Final Four, one of America's premier sports events, and a chance to win the national title early April. And whereas in 2008, the Tampa Bay hosted its first women's Final Four in what is now Amalie Arena in downtown Tampa. And yes, Tennessee rolled the title by defeating Stanford, delivering legendary coach Pat Summitt her 8th national championship. And whereas Tampa Bay hosted its second women's Final Four at Amalie Arena in 2015, with the dominance of the University of Connecticut on full display as the Huskies won their third consecutive national title by defeating Notre Dame. And whereas in 2019, Tampa Bay hosted the Women's Final Four for the third time, delivering a postseason championship game won by Baylor, 82-81. Guess who over? Notre Dame. And whereas these thrilling Women's Final Four events in Tampa Bay attracts more than 123,039 in event history than any other host community previously, including sellout crowds of 40,189 in 2019, demonstrating the passionate following of women college hoops and generating significant economic impact to the area. And whereas in 2025, this is our year, the NCAA Division I Women Basketball Final Four returns to Tampa Bay April 3rd through April 6th for a record 4th time. Let's show some love. 4th time. We're getting there. With the University of South Florida and the Tampa Bay Sports Commission hosting this prestigious event. And whereas the NCAA and the Tampa Bay Local Organization Committee have partnered with community leaders and organizations to develop social programs and set the standards and grow the game, leaving the last impact, impression, and legacy on the community. Remember, defense wins championships. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County, Florida, does hereby declare April 3rd through April 6, 2025, as NCAA Women's Final Four Championship Days in Hillsborough County. Welcome the 4 teams, their fans, and all college basketball family to the community, and congratulate the host and local organization committees for their passionate support of women college basketball. Executed the 2nd day of April 2025. To you. Oh, come on, Rob.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
Where are we
Where's the photographer? All right, get the first picture. Okay, Lynn, it's your turn. And Rob, please share your comments.
Well, thank you so much, Commissioner Myers. What she didn't include in that amazing proclamation is that tonight she's being honored by the NCAA as part of their Legends and Legacy program. So please give her a round of applause. We are so excited to have our record 4th NCAA Women's Final Four here. I'll turn it over here to our guest of honor in just a second, Lynn Holzman, but certainly our appreciation goes out to the NCAA for this amazing opportunity. This is such an awesome event. We look at it from 3 different perspectives. All mean just as much as the other ones. Economic impact, it's going to be about 30,000 visitors that come in. We think it'll generate somewhere in the neighborhood of 23,000 hotel visitor room nights. The marketing impact, hundreds and hundreds of media here. The games are naturally broadcast nationally, but so many different pregame shows. It's going to be a postcard from Tampa Bay this entire week. It already has been. The coverage that we've gotten has been amazing. And then the social impact. We have a variety of legacy initiatives that are taking place that have been going on for several months, that long after the confetti falls on the national champion on Sunday. This is an event that's going to leave a lasting impact in our community for many, many years to come. So I'll wrap up by doing two things. One is thanking the people behind me. Hillsborough County has been an unbelievable advocate ever since we started bidding on this event in 2003. Let's give a round of applause to them. And because each of these county commissioners is a big-time player, when you have big-time players, they need a big-time court. So I'm going to give them a piece of the court here for the 2025 NCAA Women's Final Four and introduce you to Lynn Holzman.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you, everyone. On behalf of the NCAA and our Women's Basketball Committee, I just want to express our gratitude. As we've heard referenced several times, Tampa Bay and with South Florida, Amalie Arena, the Tampa Bay Sport Commission. This is a record 4th time that Tampa is hosting it. When we say record, that means no other city within the United States has had the opportunity to host the Women's Final Four that many times. That is a testament to what this community has to offer and really the outpouring of support. But frankly, it's the professionalism and really what this community has to offer. As we have grown in women's basketball and we've experienced as being one of the leaders within the women's sports movement, as we have grown, Tampa Bay itself and what the Sport Commission under Rob's leadership and others have done, we've grown together. And we couldn't be more excited to be back in this community and really for everything that those within your community get the opportunity to experience over the next several days. All of our ancillary events being free to the community, and there's going to be tremendous, I know, news and media coverage and otherwise, but really it's also the opportunity, as was referenced, for others to come from not just throughout the United States, but throughout the world to come here to Tampa Bay and really see what this community has. I've become a big fan over the years. This is the 2nd time that I've had the chance in this current position to be on this side of the microphone, if you will. And we're really excited to see Tampa Bay once again raise that bar that every city after this really has to try to find their own way to achieve, to try to outdo what Tampa Bay really does here for our Women's Final Four. The other thing is that we've talked about, it's more than just 3 games, and it really is. And we fully recognize that the NCAA, as women's sports grows, as you have the opportunity to bring major sporting events to this community, it also means in turn that we have to bring that economic impact. And really, that is why a city like Tampa Bay wants to continue to engage these major sporting events, is because what it does for your community by bringing visitors and other economic impact within. So again, just thank you for the opportunity. We are thrilled to be here again over the course of the next couple days. I've been told there's guaranteed weather.
Yes. We're actually turned down a little bit.
Okay. The humidity is doing crazy things for those of us from the Midwest and our hair. But just thank you for the opportunity. We're looking forward to engaging with everyone throughout the community, all your community leaders and otherwise. I do also just want to close by extending appreciation to our mascots for being here. There is something very, very special about college sports, and to have our mascots here representing our 4 universities, our 4 amazing women's basketball programs, with their coaches, with their players, and what they are able to do really to continue to elevate our game and women in sport. So thank you.
Board members? Commissioner Hagan.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Myers. First of all, Commissioner Myers, congratulations on being recognized tonight and for bringing this forward. I can recall back when we had our first press conference, Rob, back at Amalie, back then with Leroy Selman, when we announced the first Final Four here. And Ms. Holden, I just want to thank you for coming here for the record 4th time and for having faith in our community. And if I'm not mistaken, Rob, don't we guarantee weather as part of the bid package whenever we put it in there? So I think, once again, we delivered. But sincerely, thank you. And I say that not only as a board member here that's been engaged since the very beginning, but because all the reasons that Rob said, whether it's economic impact or the postcard impact or the social work, and not just as a county commissioner, but also as someone that's a big fan of women's sports. My sister was all SEC softball player. My daughter plays high school softball, and a few years ago, I found a sophomore player from Iowa that I'm sure you're familiar with, named Caitlin Clark, and I've followed her. I've seen her play 3 times. I'm going to see her play in Dallas again this year. So thank you, really as a fan. and for so many people here locally, appreciate and enjoy the events here, whether they're attending the game or just the other events that are here. So thank you for having faith in our community. And Rob, keep up the great work, buddy.
Well, I know everyone is excited and want to watch the men, but let me tell you, the women Final Four, it's going to be awesome. Get your popcorn, get all your snacks ready Friday night, and then again Sunday. And we have an opportunity to make history, because South Carolina could become, wait, mascot. You got to win the game. You got to win the game. Yeah, you got to win the game. Got to win the game. Double, second time to win a championship. Thank you all so much. Let's go take a picture of the board.
Thank you again, Commissioner Myers. Now, Commissioner Cohen will present our second proclamation.
Commissioner Myers, I can't believe I have to go after that. Thank you very much, everybody, and good morning. I'd like to ask Amber Smith, the Senior Government Affairs Regional Manager for the Southwest Florida Water Management District, SWIFMUD, to join me at the podium. Good morning. Water is literally the lifeblood of our county, and it is vital that our community takes all measures to conserve this essential natural resource. The good news is Hillsborough County and its partners, including SWIFMUD, are dedicated to preserving our water supply, courtesy of numerous community campaigns that raise awareness, restrict wasteful water use, and improved reclaimed water systems. I am proud to present this proclamation, which declares 2025 as Water Conservation Month and May 18th through May 24th, 2025 as Florida Water Reuse Week. I'm going to read the proclamation, but before I do, I want to mention Commissioner Wustel and I sit on Tampa Bay Water as representatives of Hillsborough County, and what many people are not necessarily aware of is that last year we had a bit of a dip in our available water, and we instituted measures, SWIFMUD instituted measures, if you recall, to restrict residential water use to once a week. And we had a very, very aggressive conservation campaign, particularly from Hillsborough County. And it was very, very successful. And in fact, we were able to conserve enough water that not only did we get through the crisis, but once the rain started again, we were back in full swing almost immediately, and our reservoirs are now filled. And it is in very, very much because of the response of the community to that campaign that happened. So water conservation does really work. And it's a very, very important component of our strategy to make sure that we always have plenty of fresh, potable drinking water at a reasonable price for the community. Whereas water is a basic and essential need of every living creature, and fresh water is the most precious natural resource. And whereas since 1999, Hillsborough County has joined the state of Florida, including the Southwest Florida Water Management District, in designating April as Water Conservation Month to teach residents ways they can help save Florida's water and resources. And whereas water reuse conserves Florida's limited water resources, and Hillsborough County is a national leader in recycling and reusing water, and whereas the National Waste Reuse Association held its national symposium in Tampa, where Hillsborough County projects were highlighted, and Water Reuse Florida has designated May 18th through May 24th, 2025 as Florida Water Reuse Week. And whereas, in addition to encouraging Florida-friendly landscaping and its beneficial uses, Hillsborough County and the Southwest Florida Water Management District promote water conservation through a wide variety of educational efforts, community outreach, water use restrictions, agency partnerships, and funding and construction of reclaimed water systems. And whereas such conservation efforts have resulted in an overall decrease in the average daily water use per person in Hillsborough County, and whereas small steps can make a huge difference, and water conservation is as easy as installing simple water-saving devices in the home and using Florida-friendly landscaping techniques. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County, Florida, does hereby declare April 2025 as Water Conservation Month and May 18th through May 24th as Florida Water Reuse Week in Hillsborough County, and calls upon all residents to promote water-saving measures and take appropriate steps to conserve and protect this vital resource. Executed the second day of April 2025. And Ms. Smith, I would like to invite you to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Thank you so much for having us here today. Amber Smith, I work in the Tampa Bay region as government affairs for Southwest Florida Water Management District, also known as SWIFMUD. Well, certainly in the world of public policy, it is prudent to be prepared for the world of extremes when they inevitably occur. And we certainly have had that happen within the past year. Also, at this time last year, as the Commissioner mentioned, we were in a drought. April is traditionally our driest month of the year, which is why we have April as Water Conservation Month. And to that end, we do implore our constituents, businesses, to take on active measures to help conserve water, and there are a lot of resources available. So those within Hillsborough County, as residents, as homeowners, you would qualify for the Tampa Bay Water Wise program, and so you can get some rebates back on that to help conserve water with retrofits. And for our business, commercial, industrial community, we have grants available that can help pay for those retrofits, and we would love to work with you on that. So thank you so much for having us here today.
Thank you very much, and I have this proclamation for you, and we'd love to take a picture with the board. Okay, very good.
And one more. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cohen. Bonnie, I know we have a lengthy change agenda here that you need to review, so care to do that?
Thank you. I'm very excited about this one. There are actually no changes to the agenda. We just have a few time certain items. The first one is at 10 o'clock, item F1, which is Chair Hagan's item, discussion regarding iHeartMedia's donation of a public service campaign focused on Hillsborough County services. And 11:45 is the recess for lunch. Those are the agenda items.
All right, can we have a motion?
Move for approval.
Motion, Commissioner Myers, second Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote.
Motion carried, 7-0.
Okay, we're going to the public comment portion of the agenda. The board welcomes comments from citizens about any issue or concern, or your opinions are valued in terms of providing valuable input to board members. However, at the same time, it's requested when you address the board that comments are not directed personally at the board or staff, but rather the issues. We've set aside 45 minutes for public comment this morning. When you come to the podium, please state your name and speak clearly into the microphone. Each person will be given 3 minutes. The first 3 speakers are Denise Herndon, followed by Humira Afzal, and then Bonnie Hoffman. Is Ms. Herndon here? Okay, please come forward. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Denise Herndon. I've been at several of these meetings going over things, and it's actually helping my traumatic brain injury. I'm here to talk about stuff on the agenda concerning things under the procurement of services for water and wells. I have a well and a septic tank in my home, and I've lived in my home. It'll be 26 years the end of this August. And just some of the things that I have found out, that I don't believe that I am not getting charged for some of these things for the city water and everything. I've gotten budgets from utility, public utilities. I've gotten stuff from the wells, and I don't see how all the money that is being supposedly generated just by the water use is paying for all of this stuff. And then I think these things on this agenda are looking like they're out of the budget for these specific things. Like, for instance, on A42, $3 million for Sheriff's Association solid waste and water resource issues. $3 million for 8 companies for engineering for water resources. The only way that DOGE can work is, I've mentioned before about check register. It's not the check register, it's the actual invoices that really tell you what those checks are costing. And we have no access to the invoices. That's not transparency. This I have from the Sheriff's Department on them, what they spend on their vehicles. This wasn't transparent at first because it didn't tell me how many buildings and how many vehicles. And I don't believe that it's only costing, what is it? I figured out $1,045 per building to have Chronister's name on 19 buildings. I can see over $77,000 on the buildings. And he has here $16.90 because he does in-house, putting his name on just the vehicles. That's not counting anything else because it's done in-house. Well, that employee gets his wage. I've been getting records, and I have no problem paying for body cams, but I'm being charged $26 or $25 an hour for
Thank you, Ms. Herndon. Appreciate your comments.
Body cams.
Thank you, ma'am. Humira Afzal. Is Humira here? Bonnie Hoffman, followed by Daniel Placencia and Dr. Josh Littleton. Good morning.
Good morning. The 4 Republicans were on the wrong side of the school referendum after it was passed with bipartisan support with over 66% voters, with the help of Best Lawyers publication reminding citizens why it was urgent to vote yes, and the Tampa Bay Chamber of Directors voting unanimously to support the referendum, representing 1,100 chamber companies and 9,800 individuals. And a Tampa Bay Times published an opinion piece signed by 14 prominent leaders with names like Chalora, Sink, Vinnick, We won't forget how the four of you tried to keep the initiative off the ballot. This was abuse of power. Look up the definition. Misuse of your position of authority to take advantage of another person or organization. That's exactly what you did. Interference with our democracy. You know your job. Look at it. Roads, traffic, homeless, waste management, not the school board. You tried to take our tax money for your attorney fees. And I suggest sit at the ball fields and you're going to hear white privileged moms boast about using vouchers for private schools. Many religious schools with their children would attend without these vouchers. What a scam to subsidize private religious schools. Here's a fact. Voucher programs are used disproportionately by middle and upper middle income families because many low income families with poorer zip codes do not choose vouchers because they're not in their neighborhoods. And there's additional fees for uniforms, fundraisers, and transportation. Fact, currently Florida's #1 in book censorship thanks to your governor. Number 47 out of SAT scores thanks to your governor. And if the four of you care so much about the poor and the senior citizen, where's your outrage with Tampa Electric and the Duke rates going up $20 a month? You had $50,000 for attorneys, not a peep. Commissioner Cepeda, one day you won't be sitting on this board, so regarding the Sunshine Law and honest open government, here's a history lesson for you. Look up the Galleria Mall and the 1983 indictments, 5 attorneys, 7 businessmen, prison sentences for Jerry Bomer, Fred Anderson, and Joe Kotvis, and then read a biography of Jan Platt.
Thank you, Ms. Hoffman. Daniel Placencia. Is Daniel here? Please come forward. Then we have Dr. Josh Littleton, who's virtual, followed by Peter Hortzman. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I'm here on behalf of the Cuban Civic Club. My name is Daniel Placencia. I'm the president of the same club. And on behalf of the board and the members of that institution, we want to give you, it's a great honor and gratitude to you all for supporting the funds to be able to establish the sprinkler system of the Cuban Civic Club to be up to code with the fire department. To you all who have voted in favor of that, especially Commissioner Coyne and Commissioner Cameron Cepeda. With their support, we will be able to be accomplished to help the community continue to move forward with the business of the Cuban Civic Club, which is a variety of things that we do for all the entire Tampa Bay area and beyond. So again, thank you from the bottom of our heart for your support, giving us all of that to continue supporting the community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Josh Littleton, who's virtual, followed by Peter Hortzman and Sheila Simmons-Tribble. Is Dr. Littleton on the line?
Yeah, good morning, all. Dr. Josh here. My comments are directed towards agenda item S3, outlined in the agenda. Okay. Commissioner Miller, I'm looking at you. I understand the immense pressure you're facing, especially with the political landscape being what it is, and shoot, the Final Four coming to Tampa. But I cannot sit quietly while our community is treated like a pawn in a political game. The eyes on us shouldn't make us bend to the demands of people like DeSantis, Musk, Trump, especially when those demands are at the expense of our community. It is becoming painfully clear why Commissioner Cepeda was asked to present the proposal to exempt the Board of Commissioners from sunshine laws, and it is not hard to see manipulation at play here. You made the right choice last time, and I urge you to stand firm in those morals. We, the community residents of Hillsborough, understand what this community needs better than anyone else, and we deserve to be treated with respect. We are not here to serve political ambitions. We are here to serve the people who call this place home. Our autonomy as a county is something we must protect, and that means making decisions that benefit the people and not the powerful figureheads that will discard us the moment we are no longer useful. At a national level, we can already see how these cost-cutting initiatives like DOGE, driven by empty rhetoric, are harming communities. We, us, are losing our focus on science, research, and equitable healthcare, which directly impacts human lives, real lives, like the patients I encounter every day. This is not abstract. This is about people's health, families, and futures. These short-sighted policies are dangerous. As a fellow Tampanian, husband, father, and mental health practitioner here in the Bay, I refuse to stand idly by while our friends, neighbors, and family members are cast aside. I will not sit, we will not sit, as vital services and nonprofits are starved, dismantled, and sold for parts. The prosperity we enjoy today is the result of hardworking individuals who use tax dollars to improve our community. We owe it to them, we owe it to the people coming behind us to stand up and protect what makes Hillsborough great. And I urge you, finally, remember who you serve, the people of Hillsborough, and don't let political games undermine our future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Peter Hortzman, Peter here, followed by Sheila Simmons-Tribble, and then Chris Kravitz. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Peter Horstman, a retired architect and Hillsborough County resident living in Temple Terrace. At the age of 72, I anticipated spending my retirement years traveling and catching up with old friends. Instead, I feel obligated to continue my 50-plus years of being an activist for LGBTQ rights because the sacrifices I am making are nothing compared to those that created LGBTQ rights in the first place and those that forwarded them. I would like to educate you on the history of some of those people who deserve LGBTQ+ pride recognition at every level of our government. In 1969, after decades of ridicule and suppression, the Stonewall Uprising occurred and the movement for our civil rights began. Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera were transgender activists and revolutionaries who played a leading role in that uprising and later founded Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, known as STAR, a pioneering organization supporting homeless and vulnerable transgender individuals. Harvey Milk was elected as a San Francisco City Supervisor in 1977, becoming the first openly vocal gay man elected to office. During Milk's almost 11 months in office, he sponsored a bill banning discrimination based on sexual orientation in public accommodations, housing, and employment that passed by a vote of 11-1, and Mayor George Moscone signed it into law. On November 27, 1978, Milk and Moscone were assassinated by Dan White, a disgruntled former city supervisor who cast the sole vote against Milk's bill. Stuart Milk, Harvey's nephew, started the Harvey Milk Foundation to promote awareness and acceptance of the LGBTQ+ community internationally. Stuart was our guest celebrity speaker for the Hillsborough County LGBTQ+ Democratic Caucus's Rex fundraiser this past Friday. Rex Maniscalco, for whom the fund is named, was a photographer, activist, and friend of the Tampa's LGBTQ+ community. He was also a founding member of our caucus. Rex was a fixture in the Tampa Bay area. With camera in hand, he documented activities within the LGBTQ+ community and was an outspoken advocate for our issues. Rex was a true humanitarian who cared for his fellow citizens and spent countless hours as a vocal member of many civic organizations. Rex worked to make the world a better place. After his sudden death in 2009, the caucus created the Rex Fund Scholarship to honor his memory. I'll be back next month to educate you about some other noted members of the LGBTQ+ community that deserve recognition, hoping that when Pride Month occurs in June, you will honor us then. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Hortzman. Next up is Sheila Simmons-Tribble, followed by Chris Kravitz, both in person.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dr. Sheila Simmons-Tribble, and I'm a member of Bible-Based Fellowship Church. Everyone deserves a decent home and a decent place to call home. Hillsborough County is facing an even worse housing crisis since the last time I was here. But what really happens is that it impacts families, working families, seniors, vets, and those with disabilities. Over 100,000 low and very low income renters households, they are now cost burdened, and that means that they spend at least 1/3 of their income on rent. This number goes even higher when we talk about home ownership. Seniors are the fastest growing homeless population in Hillsborough County. We cannot ignore this housing crisis. We ask for your leadership. Hillsborough County has the locally controlled Affordable Housing Fund, and it is the strongest tool to support these families. The issue is that When you have affordable housing, it makes the community healthier, it makes the community more safer, and above all, it gives children a brighter chance for a good outcome. But let's not even talk about how it stabilizes families. Investing in the Affordable Housing Fund leverages 5 to 6 times when you're looking at state, federal, as well as private funds. Now, when we think about this, it really creates jobs and more businesses are attracted to our area. We ask that you tackle this problem, our housing crisis. We ask that you significantly invest in the county's Affordable Housing Fund to make Hillsborough County a better place to live, to work, and to enjoy quality of life. We ask for your help, and we ask for you to act. And lastly, there is hope in hard places. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your comments. Last 2 speakers this morning, Chris Kravitz, then followed by Loretta Waters, which is virtual.
Good morning. I'm Chris Kravitz, serving at Waters Avenue Church and Bayshore Baptist Church. Both those congregations are members of, you guessed it, HOPE, Hillsborough Organization for Progress and Equality. We're a multi-faith, multi-issue interfaith organization, and we work for long-term solutions to community problems, as you're all well aware. On behalf of the 27 member congregations of HOPE, I'm here to follow up on our December 4th letters of invitation to our Nehemiah Action that we sent out. We'd like to invite you, commissioners, to the HOPE public meeting, the Nehemiah Action, on Tuesday, April 8th at 7 p.m. at Bible-Based Fellowship Church in Carrollwood. We anticipate you making the time to join 1,400 community residents who are seeking your leadership on the issue of affordable housing. The member congregations are invested in you being there. I have conversations each week with members of both of the churches I serve, asking me questions. Have the commissioners said they're going to come? Have we heard back from Commissioner Bowles? Have we heard back from Commissioner Cepeda? They're excited. People are excited to see you there. People want to celebrate good leadership, and people want to see affordable housing. This is the largest interfaith public meeting in our county that is focused on resolving serious problems related to the need for decent, affordable housing. So again, not me, but we, not just the ones with the purple shirts here today, but hundreds of people from across the county, from all of our congregations, are inviting you to be at the Nehemiah Action this coming Tuesday, April 8th at 7 p.m. at Bible-Based Fellowship Church. And as always, we would love to have meetings with you in person as well, so that we can continue working for solutions to this problem. We pray that each of you who work to care for the quality of life for all our families will join us as we work together for the well-being of all those who live in our county. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kravitz. Last speaker this morning, Loretta Waters. Ms. Waters on the line.
Ms. Waters, can you hear us? You're unmuted. Loretta Waters, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
I've never done this before, so I'm learning. My concern is Sydney River trails for the horses. We live over there. We bought a house because we have horses, me and my 5 grandkids, and there was a washout on the entry on the main way off of Sydney Washer, and I called 3 times, and then finally a week after the last phone call, they come and barricaded it. Well, are we going to fix it? 'Cause I've asked for another one. I mean, that's our hobby. We have a lot of horses in our neighborhood. We're just kind of concerned what's going on with it, 'cause we've asked for another one at the end of Fitzway, and they haven't got any response. But it's pretty big. You can drive a golf cart in it, and you'll never see it, the hole is. Am I concerned that we're going to fix it, add another one, or what we're going to do? I mean, and there's another bridge in there that's messed up, too, in there for the horses. So I'm just kind of concerned what's going to happen with that, because, you know, we pay taxes, and we're close to the horse trail, and we're all horse people. And we'd love to use the park that's at the end of our road. I guess that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Waters, and we'll refer this over to the county administrator to take a look at it. Thank you. All right, that closes the public comment portion of the agenda. Can we have a motion to approve the consent?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Meyer, second, Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote on the consent agenda.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, Bonnie, want to introduce the first item?
Thank you. The first item is item B1. This is to approve and execute the agreement with the State of Florida Department of Transportation and Hillsborough County. And this is regarding to the previously collected transportation surtax funds. Kim Byer will present this item.
Morning, Kim.
Good morning. Kim Byer, Assistant County Administrator. Today, we're requesting approval of an agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation for state financial assistance totaling $208,591,836 in state surtax funds. This funding represents the return of a previously collected transportation surtax dollars from the 2018 citizen-approved referendum. The funds will be used to resurface state-selected roads throughout Hillsborough County. In support of this item, we're also requesting approval of a resolution amending the adopted FY25 to FY29 capital improvement program to add the road repaving surtax project. Additionally, we're asking you to approve an FY25 budget amendment resolution to appropriate $208,591,836 in state surtax funds for the road repaving surtax project. The budget amendment resolution will establish the road repaving surtax CIP project and appropriate $208,591,836 within the state surtax funds. I have Josh Bellotti, Engineering and Operations Director, here with me today to help answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Wilstell.
Thank you. I just want to gently remind the public that the Hillsborough County Commissioners had zero purview or authority or involvement on selecting which roads were paved and in what order. In case anybody has questions how this was done, it was through the state's legislation.
Question, Kim. I know when this came up initially, staff had concerns. I know several board members, including myself, had concerns on them requiring us to resurface all the roads, and there potentially not being enough money. Also, many of these projects require stormwater improvements and things like that, and particularly myself having concerns with these projects potentially being prioritized over our capital plan that we did and approve that are clearly our priorities. So have all these issues been resolved to staff's satisfaction?
We believe it has, yes.
Okay. Josh, you want to add anything?
Sure, can. No, we've worked with DOT very closely and resolved all that for our part in the agreement, so we plan to be able to advance and execute the current budgeted projects as well as these in addition. So, and the funding was specified. There are 2 tiers you'll see in the agreement of projects, and so the total funding amount, the requirement is only for the county to complete the first tier of projects. That second tier is available to do if there is funding available after the Tier 1 is completed, but it's not a requirement. So the county is not taking on any additional financial burden to complete those projects.
Okay, and I think I know the answer to this, but I just want to hear it on the record. And we do not have any concern with these projects at all delaying the county's work plan or projects that we have planned.
Yeah, that's correct. We'll continue to have a focus on the current projects that the county has as well.
Okay. All right, I don't see any other comments. Can we have a motion?
Move for approval.
Motion,
Second.
Commissioner Myers, second, Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote on B1.
Motion carried 7-0.
Next item.
The next item is item B2, and this relates to the City of Tampa and Temple Terrace. As you recall, Plant City's item has already been approved.
Item B2 is to approve 2 tri-party agreements with the Florida Department of Transportation, Hillsborough County, and our municipal partners, the City of Tampa and Temple Terrace. These agreements will provide a combined $30,679,255 in state financial assistance. These agreements return a portion of the previously collected transportation surtax funds to be utilized for resurfacing projects selected by the state. There's no financial impact to the county. Each municipality will receive its funding allocation directly from FDOT.
Okay.
Move approval.
Motion, Commissioner Cohen.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Myers. Please record your vote on B2.
Commissioner Myers.
It's lit. Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank
Bonnie?
you. And I'd really like to thank staff and FDOT because this was a major undertaking, and clarifying some of the things that Commissioner Hagan, you just asked about, and getting that into the documents, and appreciate the work of the County Attorney's Office as well. The next item is item B3. This is to adopt a resolution relating to the Cuban Civic Club funding, and John Muller will present this item.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. John Muller, Director for Facilities Management and Real Estate Services. Today, we are bringing forth the funding agreement with the Cuban Civic Club. The Civic Club is located in the Town and Country Timberlane area on Memorial Drive, as you can see on the slide. The club has been at this property since the early 70s, and the indoor facilities are in need of renovations. This agreement would provide up to $250,000 to install primarily a fire sprinkler system upgrade and some other related facility renovations at their building. Currently, their capacity is limited to 300 due to noncompliance with fire safety regulations. And once this funding is done and the upgrades are done, they'll be able to host safely events larger up to 1,000. This will allow them to expand their programming, create new job opportunities, and support financial sustainability through increased rental capacity. The item is being presented as a regular item, consistent with the board policy for outside agency funding requests. And to ensure that everything is completed to county standards, our capital improvements team will be assisting by inspecting the work before any payments are made. I want to please note 2 items in the motion. A substitution in the form of payment. In lieu of reimbursement, the Cuban Civic Club will have the work completed in 4 stages, submit the invoice, at which time we will verify on-site the work and then pay the funds with the requirement that within 7 days the contractors be paid. They will have to submit documentation on the proof of payment. And then Cuban Civic Club also submitted their IRS Form 990 for the financial review in lieu of an audited financial. As you noted previously in public comment, here today, Dr. Danielle Plasencia, the president, Dania Sellers, the treasurer. They're here today representing the Cuban Civic Club to express their appreciation of your consideration of this agenda item. I'll stop there for any questions.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Cameron Cepeda.
Yes, thank you. I would like to take a moment here to recognize and really thank the Cuban Civic Club for their long-standing service to our community. For over 60 years, this organization has not only preserved a rich cultural heritage, but has also been a source of support and compassion for those in need. Their building is more than a facility. It is a symbol of resilience, unity, and generosity, and I'm honored to support funding for critical improvements, including the installation of fire sprinklers and other essential repairs. These improvements will help ensure the Cuban Civic Club continues to serve and uplift our residents for generations to come. I want to sincerely thank them for their service to the community, and I wish the organization continued well-deserved success for many years to come. And with that, I would like to make a motion for approval.
Okay, we got a motion approved by Commissioner Cameron Cepeda, second Commissioner Cohen. Commissioner Cohen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to echo the comments of our colleague, Commissioner Cameron Cepeda. This item was a flag that actually was partially funded by I think $150,000 came from Commissioner Cameron Cepeda and $100 from me. And there is some precedent for doing that. Commissioner White and I did that on the Veterans Memorial Park entrance. But what I want to say is that this was something where I think we both saw independently a unique situation in the community that we could help with. And I'm just glad that we were able to do it together with the cooperation of the administration, which was extremely helpful, and we appreciate that. So thank you.
Commissioner Bowles?
Actually, yes. I would say that I've also enjoyed a few events out there at the club there, and it's been quite fantastic. I do have a question, and speaking of precedents, the waiving of the policy in this particular case is not going to set up a precedent for future NGOs to come before us and ask for that same waiver, because I think it's really important that we don't get in the habit of doing this. exigent circumstances set aside, I just think that, we can't get into that habit of doing that. And I was just wondering how many times, if you're aware, or Madam Administrator, if you're aware if this has been done and if it really puts us in a pickle as we move along.
I don't think we have done this too many times, which is why we bring it to your attention, because we think generally the policy that we reimburse is a better process. But in this particular case, they did not have the funds or the financial wherewithal in order to do it that way. So staff worked closely with the clerk's office as well to make sure we could come up with something that was secure, get the contractors paid quickly, make sure the work gets done. And so that's why we do mention it, because it is extraordinary in this particular instance.
To answer the second part of your question, could it happen again? Potentially. I don't want to say we're setting a precedent by any means. I think in consideration with the Civic Club, they're very much a grassroots organization. There's a minimal paid staff. So upon the financial review, we definitely take a hard look at what their cash situation is. And also that, in the case, these individuals are contributing a lot of sweat equity in this. So with this particular item and what they're doing, we went ahead and recommended that so that we can, I think also, Commissioner, it keeps our control also of making sure, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that that money was spent appropriately and exists. So we'll be there through all the phases of it.
Very good. Yeah, and I agree. I think this adds such a wonderful potential to the facility to really expand what they can do and, really grow what they can do. But again, I just can see
Correct.
that perhaps
Noted.
In the future that could be a possible issue. But thank you both.
Okay, and I want to just thank staff for working hard on this. I think it might have been a bit challenging at times, but you guys came up with a creative way to ensure that we could, support the goals of Commissioner Cameron Cepeda and Commissioner Cohen. All right, so with that, we got a motion and a second. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Bonnie.
I think we could do item F2 before 10 o'clock. Commissioner Miller, this is your item regarding the approval of the ELAPP Subcommittee selection of the 2025 Theodore Roosevelt Hillsborough Forever Conservation Award winner.
Commissioner Miller.
Thank you. It is an honor to continue the District 4 tradition of presenting the Theodore Roosevelt Hillsborough Forever Conservation Award, which recognizes outstanding environmental stewardship in our county. Established in 2017 through the leadership of former Commissioner Stacy White, this award has become a meaningful way to celebrate those who dedicate themselves to conservation efforts in Hillsborough County. This year, I'm pleased to bring forward the nominees selected by the ELAPP Committee, Michael Sid Flannery, for his contributions to environmental preservation. I look forward to the board's consideration and to recognizing his impact on the community. And with that, I move to accept the ELAPP Committee's recommendation of Michael Sid Flannery for this recognition.
All right, we got a motion by Commissioner Miller, second Commissioner Cohen. I don't see anyone else in the queue. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, next item.
I'll speak a little slowly. Our next item is the 10 o'clock item. Commissioner Hagan, your item F1. This is to discuss regarding iHeartMedia's donation of a public service campaign focused on Hillsborough County services.
Okay, thank you, board members. This will be relatively quick. If you're unfamiliar with iHeart, they're a radio or audio powerhouse with 870 stations across 160 markets, including 9 in our market. In fact, Hillsborough County advertises throughout the year when we have important public service announcements that we would like to disseminate. Over the years, I've established a close relationship with many of the folks over there. And one day I was at their office, and my friend Jeff Liss, who works there, said they were interested in partnering with Hillsborough County in order to provide / donate public service announcements. It's my impression they used to do more of this years ago, and Jeff wants to move a little bit more in that direction to do more things to help spread the word about what's going on in Tampa Bay. So they've offered to donate a public service campaign on Hillsborough County services. And I'm going to ask Jeff from iHeart to come up here and say a few words in a minute, but essentially they'll provide messages that will run on a consistent basis across their cluster of radio stations. iHeart will create the messages that are timely and based around specific events or issues. They will handle the production, and the messages can be changed at any time. A couple that I just thought of, since I brought it forward, could be hurricane preparedness, emergency management, our efforts to combat human trafficking, mosquito fish giveaways, water conservation efforts, such as the one Commissioner Cohen brought forward today, the county fair, if we want to promote that. Also, iHeart forwarded a couple of just ones that they came up on their own, and I think staff's prepared to run those real quick, I think.
Discover all the beautiful parks, recreation centers, and preserves that Hillsborough County has to offer. Go bird watching at the Alafaya River Corridor Nature Preserve, or take a hike on the trails of the Cypress Creek Nature Preserve. Visit hcfl.gov to learn more. At the Hillsborough County Pet Resource Center, nothing makes us happier than helping a pet find its forever home. From calico cats to patient pooches, dozens of animals are available for adoption every day at the shelter. Visit hcfl.gov to learn more.
So those are just a couple examples. They came up on their own, and I thought they're very, very appropriate, very nice. And with that, Jeff, I'm just going to ask you to say a few words. Correct me if I misspoke or said anything that's inaccurate, and just appreciate you being here.
You got it all right, man. This program was created by iHeart as a way to better serve our listening community. On average, people spend about 30% of their day consuming audio, and of that, almost 70% is with AM and FM radio. According to Nielsen's research, iHeart's 9 local stations reach close to 1.8 million listeners, with over 60% of that listening coming from Hillsborough County. So kind of knowing that and appreciating our relationship with Commissioner Hagan made it easy to come to the decision to put together this program for Hillsborough County. We just thought it would be a good way and a good step towards our goal of better serving our community. So thank you.
Well, Jeff, I want to thank you for, number one, for your vision, and I want to thank iHeart for being such a good corporate partner. Again, they're donating this. We can change it monthly, whatever we decide that we want to utilize it for. It's at our discretion. And I think for the purposes of a motion, I'm going to pass the gavel and just refer to the county administrator to work with iHeart on a plan and what issues or events that we'd like to be included in the public service announcements. Short and sweet.
Any discussion? Go ahead and record your vote. I'm sorry.
Motion carried 7-0.
All right, great. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Sir, can I get your last name, please? Thank you.
You're good. Thank you. The next item is item F3. Commissioner Miller, your item regarding participation in the DOGE team process.
Thank you. I'd like to make some short introductory remarks before getting into my formal motion. Recently, there was significant, and I believe intentional and perhaps reckless, misinformation shared with the public about both this board and my own position on protecting taxpayer dollars following the recent board meeting on March 5th. So please let me be completely clear on this point. Guarding against unwise spending and unnecessary waste is of the highest importance to me. Further, I wholeheartedly support the governor's efforts in this regard, generally referred to as DOGE. And I am confident that Hillsborough County will cooperate to the fullest. In fact, during the March 5th meeting, I did not, nor did any member of this board other than Commissioner Whistle, even dispute that close attention to spending taxpayer dollars is one, if not the highest priority. Rather, it was a simple process discussion, and the majority of the BOCC declined to support Commissioner Whistle as the sole point of contact on DOGE efforts. Frankly, in my opinion, a sole point of contact is antithesis of what this entire board is elected to do on behalf of the citizens of Hillsborough County. Further, both the governor's office and Hillsborough County staff are well-educated and experienced and are more than capable of keeping their respective leadership informed, updated, and involved. All that said, I do think that the board should have some additional professional citizen input, counsel, and advice. I've called it the DOGE Liaison Advisory Committee. The highlights of my approach are as follows. Working with the county administrator, I suggest a 5-citizen member approved majority of the, I suggest 5 citizen members approved by the majority of the board. Of course, this board has a history with these types of committees and would follow this well-established protocol. Each member shall be a resident of the registered voter in Hillsborough County, and additionally, each member shall also possess at least one of the following educational and professional credentials: accountant, economist, finance, certified auditor, IT, or human resource professional. The liaison committee would meet at least once a month for 1 year, beginning after the initiation of the state EOG DOGE team engagement with Hillsborough County. The liaison committee may only be extended by majority vote of the board. The liaison committee will provide written updates monthly with a final report and conclusion of its work. And with that, I will summarize the formal motion that's in the agenda as follows. 1, I authorize the chair to sign a letter in the form presented to the governor on behalf of the board, committing the county to fully and transparently participate in the EOG DOGE team process as clearly created by the Executive Order 2544. 2, approve the resolution of the board supporting the EOG DOGE team effort and committing Hillsborough County to collaborate with the EOG DOGE team and direct the county administrator to transmit the resolution to the governor. And finally, approve the creation of the Hillsborough DOGE Liaison Advisory Committee as presented.
Was that a motion?
It was a motion.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second by Commissioner Myers. Commissioner Cameron Cepeda.
Yes, thank you. I would like to begin by expressing my appreciation that our board is committing to fully and transparently participating in the EOG team process. I fully support that direction. However, I respectfully request that the language in this agenda item be amended to remove the phrases "any amended executive order" and "any related executive order." While I support transparency and collaboration, I believe it's important that our commitments remain specific to the current process and not extend to undefined or future executive actions. Additionally, I would like to address the portion of the item related to the creation of an advisory board as currently written. The item proposes that the advisory board be comprised of 5 members selected by a majority of the Board of County Commissioners, and I believe this raises a question of representation and process. Given that we have 7 commissioners on our board, I would recommend that each commissioner be allowed to nominate 1 advisory board member, resulting in a 7-member advisory board that reflects the full diversity and voice of our commission. This approach would ensure all districts are represented and would enhance public trust in the advisory board's work. I respectfully submit this and would make a motion also to have those words removed, and also for the number of the board members on the advisory board.
All right, so that's a motion, an amendment to the motion
yeah.
on both removing the executive order and a language, as well as the 7-member, changing the 5-member to 7-member with each commissioner making a nomination.
Yes, those phrases, any amended executive order and any related executive order, because of some future issues that could arise. That's the reason and purpose for that, and then also for the number of board members as well.
Okay, so we have an amendment to the motion by Commissioner Cameron Cepeda. Do we have a second?
Second for discussion.
All right, second by Commissioner Bowles.
Second for discussion.
Okay. Commissioner Wolstel?
Well, she needs to have the future, any amendments that they might make, the legislature pass anything that approves more efforts. So she'll need something to make it to where it doesn't have to come back if he changes the language of his executive order or if he bolsters his current executive order. So you'll probably want to move that. The 7-person representation is fine. I'll address some of the original comments that were made, though. Commissioner Miller, you said that this was reckless. You said nothing during the original item. All of these recommendations could have been made when the item was brought forward instead of just blindly voting no. You suggested that there was information put out and that it was reckless. I believe that honesty and transparency is a fleeting quality in society. I believe that you're somebody that does appreciate those things. But you said that you don't like sole member representatives to groups, right? Because that's the main problem. You don't like sole representatives. During this comment, I've actually been trying for months to get the county administrator to provide me some information about us in our past of appointing sole representatives. I pointed out that I had found out in a different conversation that Commissioner Hagan is currently a sole representative. I thought it was from 7 years ago. County administrator wouldn't provide me what I was asking for. I did end up finding it. It's actually from 2014, October the 1st, 2014. Our county administrator has been operating behind the scenes on an old vote from 10 years ago, appointing solely one commissioner to represent negotiations of all of the raise deals. We didn't know that was happening. He wasn't even in that seat. Actually, I've talked to an attorney. He was not even District 2, he was District 5. So if a lawsuit were to occur, a reasonable argument could be made that Commissioner Cepeda would be filling this role as the sole negotiator of all of the Tampa raise deals. So are you willing to commit that you're going to rescind this 2014 sole representation appointment of Commissioner Hagan to negotiate the raise deals and make it to be this board as a whole or a subcommittee?
I would have to get more information on it before I would commit to that, but my request is not related to that, sir. My request is saying that we as a unified body are committing to the governor that we are going to support full transparency as related to the budget.
Yeah, but you said that your reason for voting no was because it was about a sole representation, and that's what was reckless about it, which is really not, because whatever we do in no matter what regard, Commissioner Cohen has said that we can all participate however we want. We're the ones that are vetted by the voters and approved to be here. We can interact with the DOGE team when they get here however we want. Could have done so before. Sole representative is just the person that we're designating to do the bulk of the work. Sole representation at Thea, sole representation at the port, sole representation at the aviation authority. That's what we're doing, is we're designating and volunteering one person to do the majority of the work, but we can interact with those bodies and they'll work with us and get us whatever information they want, no different than doing DOGE. So again, I'll ask, if the issue is sole representations, are we going to go back, if that was truly the issue, and remove this policy from 2014 from a commissioner that is no longer even in the seat of which he was originally appointed, and which none of this board knew was even happening except for one person in the county administrator?
Asked and answered.
So the answer is that the sole representation is not the real reason that we voted no. There's nothing reckless about it. We can all interact with the DOGE team. As long as we get DOGE, once they get in here, I'm going to be able to coordinate with them however I want, just like any of you are. I do think, though, that it's extremely concerning that this Board of County Commissioners is not willing to commit. Commissioner Cohen shook his head no during the original meeting that he had no idea that this was happening. Commissioner Myers, you had no idea that this policy was in place. You shook your head no, too, I believe. I think that this is an outrageous breach of trust from our county administrator for this to be in place and us not have this knowledge. This commissioner wasn't even in this seat at the time that policy went into place. I'm curious about what other policies might be being acted on without our knowledge before any of us were even here but one.
Commissioner Wilson, do you have any comments regarding the amended motion?
I think that, yes, I do. I think that subcommittees, I didn't see any language in the proposed resolutions to completely restrict these individuals from lobbyists. And I think that that's extremely concerning. It says accountants, economists, finance professionals. What type of finance professionals? Personal financial managers, they would have no real operating understanding of government finances. What type of accountants? There's 12 core accountants. How are we going to manage vetting these individuals, not only credentials, but also their actual work product as they came in here and applied? I think that this is something that if we really don't just want a sole representative of the board, that the board directly should just be managing. I'll yield.
I was going to say, was there a question, sir?
All right, Commissioner Cohen?
Yes, you should remove the subcommittees. And you should really answer to the fact of you having real issues with sole representation if you're not willing to commit publicly right now that we're going to rescind this old 2014 of the District 5 commissioner being the sole representative of discussions with the race.
So no question.
All right, Commissioner Cohen?
So first of all, let me say to Commissioner Cameron Cepeda that I would support your 7-member. I think you're absolutely right that if there is to be a committee, it should be appointed by each commissioner having one. The reason I can't support your motion is because I'm not going to support any of this at all. I am absolutely 100% committed to the idea that we should be looking for waste, fraud, and abuse anywhere that we can find it. And if there is any effort on the part of the state to work with Hillsborough County to do that in a way that's transparent and accountable, I'm all for it. And I have no doubt that the county administrator would cooperate with such an effort. My problem with having a sole representative be the liaison to DOGE or a committee is that I think there already is a DOGE committee, and it's called the Board of County Commissioners. We are the ones that make the spending decisions. And in the past, this board has not had any difficulty voting on and making decisions on spending allocations. There was a group here this morning from Hope. They were talking about a $10 million affordable housing trust fund. The board debated that item and voted to remove it or reduce it down to $2 million in the last budget year. I was on the losing side of the vote. I didn't want the money to be changed, but by vote of 4, the spending was changed. And board members here have been very successful in inserting their spending priorities into our agenda when they feel that our priorities need to be tweaked, and any of us can do that in the future, and we can work with the DOGE committee and come up with those recommendations. To me, creating a committee to do what we ought to be doing is, it's exactly what we were everyone throws around that the all for transportation tax was found to be it wasn't found to be illegal. It was found to be whatever it was, unconstitutional, or the way that there were problems with the way it was written. But there were lots of criticisms of it along the way as it made its way toward litigation and toward the Florida Supreme Court. And one of the criticisms was that we were outsourcing our responsibility to a transportation advisory committee when it was us, the Board of County Commissioners, that ultimately needed to make the spending decisions. So my view is that every one of us ought to be actively involved in the effort. If it's going to be an effort that requires us to make spending decisions, and any time that a commissioner wants something removed from the budget, they can put it on the agenda, and we can come in here and we can have a vote, and sometimes we'll vote it up and sometimes we'll vote it down. And so that's where I am on this.
All right, Commissioner Myers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When I was in Tallahassee last week, I asked several of our legislatures, did we have a DOGE in place already by the state? And the answer was yes. They already have. They're doing that already. But also at the same time, Our county administrator, Bonnie Wise, who's our county administrator now, Bonnie goes above and beyond with her staff to make sure we are always in compliance with everything. So to have additional committee to come in and work with our staff, what we already are doing, I just don't see the need. I think we should continue to entrust our staff of what they're doing a very good job of today. I will not support this again. And really, when we talk about a 7-member or 5-member committee, it's not needed. We just have to entrust our staff. I'm a former staff person. Commissioner Bowles is a former staff person. And we know what it's like when we're working with staff to get what we need done. When I work with staff today, it's very enjoyable. It's a pleasure because they have the confidence in our staff that they're going to deliver what I'm asking them to do as a commissioner. Same with County Administrator Wise. Our staff goes above and beyond to take care of whatever we ask them to do. If the governor, even if President Trump sends something down here to County Administrator Wise, she's going to make sure she complies with that request and we can move on. The county's going to always be in compliance. I worked here for 25 years. I've never heard where we did not meet an obligation that another elected official from the state or the federal government asked Hillsborough County to do. And I end there. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Cameron Cepeda.
Yes, so I just want to be clear that my concerns for future executive actions is not really for this year or this current administration. I'm really thinking about years down the road, this setting precedents for something years down the road that we don't want to have issue with. That's really my concern. Not anything to do with this year, or anything like that. I'm just thinking years down the road, what could happen, so.
Okay, Commissioner Miller.
Thank you. So a couple of points here. On the 7-member as it relates, I would be fine going to 7. What I wanted to ensure, and I had lots of discussion with Ms. Wise and the team, was that it wasn't a single person, because then we could end up, like, let's say if we say it's 1 appointee, you could end up with 5 IT and nobody that really understands HR. So I was going to lean on the process that's been proven by this board that we let people apply. So to Commissioner Whistle's point, well, how do we know? Well, we would be looking at their credentials for each subset that applied, and then we would be selecting. So we would have an equal voice. So should you consider to change your mind, that would be the plan in place. I'm happy to go to 7 if 7's a number you're comfortable with. 5 was the number that Ms. Wise and her team, I worked very closely with them on this, thought that would be a manageable number, so that was why 5 was selected. But to have an individual would limit our control of what type of people the body of that board would, or that committee would work for. Secondly, I've worked closely with the governor and his team on this. They are paying attention to what we're doing here. And it's not that we wouldn't comply. Ms. Wise knows that I have supported her completely in this and the staff, and she knows that it was very important to me as I worked on this, that she understood that this was about supporting her. In talking with the governor's office, it can be very labor intensive, which was the reason of the liaison committee to take a lot of the work off of us, and then it would still come to us for approval. So to your point, Commissioner Cohen, it's still coming to us. We are still making the decision, but to be in the weeds on the day-to-day when and if the governor's office comes here, many of us have full-time schedules already to add this to the plate. So that was the point in that. I just wanted to be clear that I was making sure that Ms. Wise and her team felt very supported by this initiative, but I also want to be sure that us as a board are supporting the governor's efforts to make sure that we are providing full transparency and they are paying attention, very close attention to this issue today.
All right, Commissioner Myers, then we're going to vote on the amendment motion.
Thank you. Commissioner Miller, thank you for the additional comments you just shared with us. If I change my mind to vote, I do see that not the board appoint one person, but that we do ask for the applications to come in and we review those. I can support that.
It would be under the standard process, which is the applications goes through the office and then we would vote in the normal fashion.
And then my last question to County Administrator Wise, I'm not putting you on the spot, but you and your team, we can work with what Commissioner Miller is bringing forth. I just want to be sure.
Yes, staff worked closely with Commissioner Miller and with her concept and the information that she had, and we are comfortable with this item.
Okay, a couple comments, and then we're going to vote. First of all, Commissioner Miller, thank you for your leadership on this issue. and more importantly, your thoughtful approach to the best way for Hillsborough County to engage with the DOGE team. I think, like you, I did not like the way the previous item was presented, particularly the part about any commissioner being the single point of contact. To your credit in preparing this item, you clearly took your time, engaged with staff who are familiar with audits and engaging with state and federal officials. I like the idea of the public being involved with subject matter expertise. Through a liaison committee, this is a model that we've successfully utilized in the past. The goal should be to prepare the most effective and transparent manner to engage in this critically important issue. And in my opinion, you brought forward the ideal way to accomplish this. So I do support the motion. I do not support the amended motion by Commissioner Cameron Zepeda. And with respect to the comments Commissioner Wilson made, I don't think he's accurately describing how his agenda item was presented. It wasn't for sole representative, it was to be a single point of contact. And I think that's what some of us had issues with.
Parliamentary inquiry?
No.
Parliamentary inquiry? I don't need your approval for that. My motion was to accept the amended changes from Commissioner Bowles from single point of contact to be the sole representative. Can we confirm that from the clerk, please? That was the motion that was voted down.
You mean from last meeting?
That's right.
Oh, we can look it up, but I won't be able to.
Yeah, if we can please clear that miscommunication up from the chair.
Okay, thank you. So not only did he misrepresent the way that was handled, he's also misrepresented my involvement with the raise. I'm going to say this one last time, and I'm not going to say it again. I'm not the single point of contact. I'm not the sole representative, and I do not negotiate with the raise. It is a team. I am one member. No one is more knowledgeable on this issue than me. Commissioner Wallstall can bring this up every meeting if he wants to. I'm not going anywhere. Okay, so with that, we got a motion by Commissioner Cameron Zepeda, second by Commissioner Bowles. This is on the amended motion. Please record your vote.
Stop. Thank you.
Again, this is on the amendment.
Motion failed 1 to 6. Commissioner Bowles, Miller, Cohen, Hagan, Myers, and Wostel voted no.
Okay, now to the original motion by Commissioner Cameron, Commissioner Miller, and who seconded the motion? Commissioner Myers. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the original motion. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 6 to 1. Commissioner Cohen voted no.
Okay, excellent discussion. Bonnie, next item.
The next item is item G1. This is to receive a report regarding the widening of Van Dyke Road. And Josh Bellotti would take us through this item, as well as G2 regarding Lithia Pinecrest Road.
Morning, Josh.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioners. Josh Bellotti, Engineering and Operations. After our previous staff report on February 19th, the board requested that staff come back with a proposed plan to fund and continue efforts into the next phases of the Van Dyke Road widening project. So this brief update will highlight staff's proposed budget plan, the overall approach for completing the remaining phases of the project, and the near-term steps moving forward. First, I'll provide an update on the overall estimated project costs. As you'll recall, the Project Development and Environment, or PD&E study, previously completed in 2020, is currently being updated. During the course of this update, the previous cost estimates have been revised for the right-of-way acquisition and the construction phases. So we're now showing a remaining budget need of $45 million for land acquisition and $60 million for the construction. The primary source of funding will be the new community investment tax, and we'll be able to start budgeting that in fiscal year 27. We also have the ability to leverage some mobility fee dollars in the near term in FY26, and I'll get into the specifics on that on the next slide with the budget plan. So as we looked at putting together a budget plan for this project, one thing that we wanted to be conscious of and very deliberate about is the projected spend plan. The goal is to try and budget the funds at the time they will be needed based on the progress of the project. It's sort of a just-in-time funding approach that avoids having large dollar amounts sitting in the CIP for several years before they're utilized. So with the current phases of the project, the PD&E update as well as a 60% design, both planned for completion towards the end of this fiscal year, the project will be ready to move into the land acquisition phase in FY26. Staff is proposing to utilize available mobility fee funds from this benefit zone for this purpose. And this is a smaller dollar amount by comparison, because in the first year of the land acquisition phase, the anticipated budget need is only for voluntary acquisitions, which are typically a small percentage of the overall right-of-way acquisition. The bulk of the land acquisition budget need will be in the subsequent years due to the time required to complete that process, which, as we went over in the previous staff report, is expected to take several years. So the new CIT becomes the primary funding source from FY27 and on. And with the anticipated completion of the land acquisition phase, the construction funding is proposed to be budgeted for FY29 in order to procure and award a construction contract. So with that budget plan in place, the project will continue to move forward. As I mentioned before, the next steps in the process are completion of both the PD&E study, and that includes a final public meeting currently targeted for June, as well as the preliminary design. And that puts us into the position of initiating the land acquisition phase in FY26, beginning, again, as I mentioned, with the focus on completing those voluntary acquisitions first. And that concludes my update, and I'll, of course, be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Josh. Just a couple of comments. I'm the one that asked for this report. First of all, thank you for the work. I think excellent report, excellent plan. However, I will say a little sticker shock with a $20 million increase in 2 months for the project cost, so I probably won't ask for another report anytime soon. But that being said, I know FDOT, I guess, has delayed scheduling the public meeting for a month or so, and I don't disagree with the just-in-time plan. Obviously, we don't want to have dollars just sitting around not doing anything. However, I also don't want to get into a situation where we have land acquisition opportunities, but we have to wait to the next funding year in order for the funding to be available through the CIT. So again, the goal here is to accelerate where we can, not only this project, but also Lithia Pinecrest. I just want to make sure that we don't get into that situation, actually, with both of the projects. So there's no concern from staff at this point?
The thought process there, we share the same concern, and we don't want to be in that situation either. What we're trying to do with the budget plan here is be flexible, and I think there is sufficient flexibility if a land acquisition, I'll say that again. If a land acquisition opportunity presents itself earlier, we always have the opportunity to come back with a mid-year budget amendment to ensure that we have funds available to complete that transaction. So we will continue to have that flexibility to keep the project moving.
Yeah, if we can just please keep our eye on the ball for those opportunities. So
yes, sir, absolutely.
With both projects. Okay, great. Can we just have a motion to accept the report?
Move for approval.
Second. Motion, Commissioner Myers, second, Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote.
Motion carried, 7-0.
All right. G2.
Okay, Commissioners, thank you. Again, similar with the last report, the board had requested a proposed funding plan for the Lithia Pinecrest Road Widening project and to begin efforts on the design and land acquisition phases. So this update will also show how staff is proposing to fund the next phases of the Lithia Pinecrest Widening project and the overall approach and near-term next steps. Since we're still very early in the planning stage for this project, we have really only very rough budgetary cost estimates at this time. Since we last shared these figures, we have made some adjustments to account for the overall trend of increasing costs. But I want to note that the county will receive refined estimates from its design consultant once we're engaged in the design process. But at this time, we're currently projecting an overall project cost of around $260 million. So setting aside the funded PD&E study of about $4 million, that leaves us $256 million to be budgeted. So as requested here on this slide, we've broken out the specific cost estimates for the professional design engineering services, the land acquisition of right-of-way, and the construction of the project. The primary source of the remaining budget will be the new CIT, which we'll be able to start budgeting in fiscal year 27. And in the meantime, we'll be looking to leverage some eligible mobility fee funds in FY26, and I'll go over that in detail in a moment as well. As we discussed at our last presentation, the overall approach that we're proposing for completion of this 7-mile project is to phase the effort into several roadway segments. This concept will still need to be approved through the completion of the public outreach and PD&E study, but for now, this is our basis for the budget plan. So what we're calling the initial phase will actually be advanced as a standalone intersection improvement and signalization at the intersection of Bloomingdale and Pearson Road, shown on the map here as the yellow star. And then after that, the first phase of the road widening project will take place on Lithia Pinecrest between New River Hills Parkway and South Miller Road, which is the orange-colored 2.5-mile segment in the middle. The second phase moves from there to the north past Brooker Road, about 1.2 miles, shown in the light green color. The third phase will be the southernmost segment, including the widening from New River Hills 1.3 miles south to Fishhawk Boulevard, and will also include the intersection improvements at Fishhawk Boulevard. So that's the blue segment on the map down to the red star. And then finally, the fourth phase completes the northernmost leg of the project, the last mile up to Lumsden Road, shown as the dark red roadway segment. So similar to the Van Dyke budget plan, with this project, we also took a deliberate approach in considering the projected spend plan based on the advancement of the project phases. So not all the funds are allocated up front. They're spaced out based on our best educated projection of when they'll be needed to continue advancement of the project. So because we have that segmented or phased implementation, we're using colors on this chart to show how each of those progresses in sequence. So looking at the table from left to right, starting with FY26, again, we know the CIT dollars won't be available yet, but as I mentioned before, we're proposing to utilize some mobility fee funds from Benefit District 2, which is where a portion of this project lies. So we utilize those funds for eligible portions of the project, including that initial phase intersection improvements, Bloomingdale and Pearson, as well as to begin the design effort on the first phase of the widening project. Note again that the timelines for these efforts are dictated by the process that we have to go through. For example, procuring design consultants through a CCNA process. And before we initiate that, we need to have a completed and approved PD&E study. So moving to FY27, with new CIT funds available, we propose funding the next phase of design, as well as funding to begin any voluntary land acquisition, which, as I mentioned before, is the smaller portion of the overall effort. And then from FY28 and on, you can see how those subsequent phases continue with the funds allocated at the time they're projected to be needed in order to keep advancing the project forward to completion. So with that, the next steps here to continue advancing this project forward are to hold the final public workshop and conclude the PD&E study later this year. That'll also be where we'll finalize that project segmentation plan. And at the same time, we're planning to move forward with the initial phase standalone intersection improvement projects, improvements at Bloomingdale Avenue and Pearson Road. And we'll also begin the procurement process for the design firm for the first phase of the road widening. And with that, I'll stop and offer to answer any questions. Thank you.
Well, thanks for the presentation, Josh. I know you and your staff put in a lot of work on this, and I know the board very much appreciates it. Can we have a motion to accept the report?
Move for approval.
Motion, Commissioner Myers, second Commissioner Bowles. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thanks. Bonnie?
Thank you. We're just at future discussion items.
All right, do we have any future issues, Commissioner Bowles?
Yeah, more of a point of personal privilege in a way. I'd like to actually ask Director Byers to come up, if you don't mind. Yes. Yes, of course. This is I just wanted to, this last Saturday, there wasn't really an appropriate place in our agenda today, but last Saturday, Public Works put on Public Service Day for our community out in the Sheldon Road area. over 400 members of our community came out there with their children ranging, I saw, you know, in swaddles up to teenagers out there. I brought my daughter out there as well. It was a fantastic event to go to, and I think you guys knocked it out of the park. I just wanted to actually recognize you and your staff for everything you did, and every one of the employees who came out there to support what they do. And really, they are the unsung heroes, if you think about it, of our community that and our workforce that don't get all the glory that the sheriff or the fire department or many of our other people do. That if it wasn't for you all maintaining our roads, maintaining our sewers, our water lines, everything that goes along with that, you know, we wouldn't have the wonderful, you know, community here in Hillsborough County that we do. But again, I just wanted to actually give you an opportunity to recognize everything y'all did, and next year, buy more hot dogs.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I also want to thank you, Commissioner. It meant the world to the staff to see you come out and recognize them, shake their hand, take photos. It really meant a lot to them. So I want to say thank you on behalf of the staff. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate the attaboy. And with that, I don't see anyone else in the queue, so we're adjourned.